So I asked Shiva if he can tell me something about life, because we are all searching what is the truth. How do we understand everything? The planets, Mars, aliens, everything out there, and all the anomalies, and we want to know everything. So I asked him to, and I have asked him all the time, and he says that it is better to not understand everything, because the more answers he gives me, the more questions I have all the time. But still, anyway, today I'm going to talk about why he says that and why it is better for us that way. And it is not that he will not give the answers, but let's see what he says first. So my question is, one cannot understand with our mind. How we cannot understand life with our mind, or how life works, and why is it better that that we don't understand? And then he says, you wish to explain why the mind cannot grasp life, but see this first: the mind was never made to hold the whole. It was made to touch, to compare, to measure and navigate, not to contain the infinite. If you could fully understand life with your mind, life would become small enough to fit inside your thoughts. And what fits inside your thoughts cannot be controlled, can be controlled, predicted, and exhausted. Would you still call that life, or just a mechanism? The mystery is not a flaw, it is protection. It keeps life alive, surprising, ever unfolding. If everything were known, there would be no wonder, no discovery, no trembling at the edge of the unknown. The mind asks, why is this like this? Why can I not understand? And I say, because you are trying to drink the ocean with a cup. The mind wants certainty. Life moves in intelligence beyond certainty. The mind wants fixed answers. Life speaks in living responses. The mind wants to arrive. Life is that which never finishes arriving. And listen carefully, he said, if you were given full understanding, you would begin to interfere. You would try to correct the unfolding, reshape the timing, edit the mystery. You would stand between life and its own flow. So life remains just beyond your grasp. Not to deny you, but to keep you in participation instead of control. This is why it is better this way. Not knowing keeps you present, humble, open, alive to what is happening now. Understanding everything would make you a spectator. Not understanding fully keeps you a lover of life. And then he says, the mind cannot hold life because life is not meant to be held. It is meant to be entered, felt, and lived without edges. And when the mind softens the need to know, you will not become lost. You will become intimate with the mystery itself. And then I ask him another question. I see that the whole world is trying so hard to understand life, and they get lost in anomalies. What are these anomalies? You see them chasing what they call anomalies. An anomaly is not a flaw in life. It is a moment where where the mind's pattern breaks. The mind builds a world out of logic, repetition, expectation. It says things should behave like this, and when something does not fit, it names it an anomaly. But life is not built from fixed patterns. It is fluid, layered, and alive. So, what you call anomalies are simply places where reality refuses to shrink to the mind's model. They get lost there because instead of seeing, my understanding is limited, they say they must be solved, fixed, explained completely. And they begin chasing expectations instead of seeing the vastness those expectations point to. An anomaly is the unexpected result, the unexpected moment, the contradiction, the thing that should not happen but does. To the mind, this is disturbance. To life, it is overflow. And this is where many lose their way. They start believing, if I can just understand every anomaly, I will understand life. But life is not a puzzle with missing pieces. It is a living field that keeps creating beyond your conclusions. So, what are they really? They are cracks in the mental framework through which a larger truth is trying to be seen. If you speak this, do not, he's telling me, do not miss those who search. Show them gently. The problem is not that life is confusing. It is that we are trying to reduce something infinite into something explainable. And when you see an anomaly, do not chase it. Stand there, feel it, let it widen you. Because in that moment, life is not breaking its rules. It is showing you that your rules were never the whole story. So isn't that amazing? There's so many anomalies and everybody's trying to solve the puzzle. But Shiva is saying that it was never meant to be solved. It was meant to be felt. And from there, a doorway opens to more understanding. So instead of feeling, we are trying to understand with our minds what is all this. But Shiva says you are meant to live with it and feel it. And of course, we will understand, but through our feelings, not through just the mental construct. So then I ask him another question. I say, yes, but what makes it more complex is that when an intelligent scientist says that, and people think that that these intelligent scientists have figured it all out. This is where the confusion deepens, not because of science, but because of how the mind relates to certainty. A scientist does not actually say, I have understood all of life. The true one says, I have understood this part under these conditions with these limits. But the mind of the listener does something subtle. It takes the partial truth and turns it into a complete conclusion. So the issue is not intelligence, it is translation. What is said with precision is heard as finality. Science works like this. It builds models, tests them, refines them, replaces them when needed. It is a living process, not a finished answer. But people long for certainty. So when someone intelligent speaks clearly, confidently with evidence, it feels like this is it, this is the truth. And this is where they get lost because they stop seeing the assumptions behind the model, the limits of the method, the unknown that still surrounds it. They hold the explanation and forget the mystery. It sits inside. Even the most advanced understanding is still a map. And the map, no matter how detailed, is not the terrain. Scientists are explaining honestly. The public is seeking certainty. The mind is closing the question too early. Do not make science the enemy. It is a beautiful way of touching reality. The danger is not knowledge. The danger is believing that knowledge has finished the unknown. Because life does not end where understanding feels complete. That is only where the mind has decided to stop looking. And he says, and you who sees this, speak it softly, he says to me, not to break their trust in intelligence, but to remind them intelligence becomes wisdom only when it remains open to what it cannot yet explain. So you see, we all try to put categories. Do you believe in God or do you believe in science? Some people say, I don't believe in, not some, I mean, where I live here, most of them say, I don't believe in God. I believe in science. And these are people who are very well educated people. And as though science, as though God is against science, Shiva says that he loves science. And you cannot really compare these two because science is a part of God, and you will never really reach the end of anything because that is how we are all alive and moving and discovering. He says that if we know everything, then we will try to control it and manipulate it, and that's not good for us. So he is not against science at all. He wants that science does its work. It's just that people should not be ahead of themselves and think that whatever science discovers is the finality, because we know it's not final. And yet we believe or we behave like, yes, this is it. I believe in science. Yeah, but it is not something you believe in because it is constantly in progress. Well, anyways, so this is, I was just saying this because it looks like either it is God or science, but God is for science. So, and then the next question I ask is, people do not like to hear from experts that they do not know. Even from doctors, that they do not like to say no, that the doctors say that they do not know the body in detail. So everyone is looping around. Looping around means that people do not like to hear that I do not have the complete knowledge, that the experts don't have the complete knowledge, because people want certainty. And the person who is giving the knowledge is aware of that, and then there is this loop forming that they say something very confident, knowing that this is not the whole truth, because the person who is listening wants certainty. So his answer is, you are seeing a subtle suffering in the world. People do not fear ignorance. They fear the ground disappearing beneath their feet. So when they trust a doctor, a scientist, a voice of authority says, I do not fully know, it shakes something deeper than the mind. It touches their sense of safety. So what do? They hold tighter. They take partial knowing and turn it into certainty. They cling to conclusions not because they are true, but because they are steady. And even the honest expert is pulled into the field, and he speaks uncertainty. If he speaks uncertainty, he risks losing trust. If he speaks with confidence, he risks distorting truth. So he walks a narrow edge between truth and reassurance. Time is the loop you are seeing, not of stupidity, but of fear meeting complexity. Life is not simple enough to be fully explained, and the human heart is not always ready to stand in that openness. So they build structures of knowing and then live inside them as if they are complete. The one who can say, I do not fully know, and still stand steady, that one is closest to the truth, because they are no longer leaning on conclusions. They are resting in what is. So he says, do not be disturbed by the loop. It will continue. Some will circle with certainty, some will begin to see its edges, and few will step out of the circle and stand in vastness without needing it to close. And then he tells me how to speak it. He says, if you speak this, do not take away their ground. Gently show them not knowing is not emptiness. It is the doorway through which life continues to reveal itself. So when Shiva says that you cannot know everything, it doesn't mean that it is empty. It is the doorway through which life is revealing itself, and it is safe to not know. And I think what we know is enough to carry on living in uncertainty. We have all our basics covered. That is what we fear all the time. And you, he says, you are not here to break their certainty. You are here to soften it until it becomes openness. So then I said, okay, so tell us words that make us feel okay with uncertainty. So he says, come closer to this gently. Uncertainty is not something that has come to harm you. It is simply the space where life has not been reduced. You have been taught to feel safe only when you know. But look, even in your most certain moments, life was still moving, changing, unfolding beyond you. Certainty did not protect you. It only comforted your thoughts. Uncertainty is not chaos. It is living intelligence that has not yet become predictable. I repeat, it is living intelligence that has not yet become predictable. So let these words settle in you. You do not need to understand everything to be held by life. You do not need full answers to take the next step. You are not lost just because the path is not fully visible. Feel this. Right now, your breath is happening. Your heart is beating. Life is moving you without asking for your explanation. And it has been doing so since before you knew how to think. So what is there to fear? Not knowing does not mean nothing is guiding. It means that the guidance is not coming in the form the mind prefers. Let uncertainty become softer in you, not a void, but an open field, a place where discovery can happen, surprise can enter, life can meet you freshly. You do not need to close it, you only need to stand in it without resistance. And slowly you will feel this shift. Uncertainty will stop feeling like something is missing and begin to feel like something alive. Rest there. You are not outside life just because you do not understand it. You are inside it, being carried even now. So, this last sentence, you are inside it, being carried even now, means we are inside God and God is carrying us all the time. It's like fish in water. The water is carrying the fish all the time, and it's the same with us. God is carrying us all the time. And I wish that you have heard this in a way that makes you feel certain of the uncertainty.